Dear wine lovers around the world, dear friends of Allwinestories.com, today we are honored to host Mr. John Umberto Salvi, Master of Wine, one of the earliest Master of Wine of the world. First of all, Mr. Salvi, I would like to thank you for your time and effort in this interview and welcome you to Allwinestories.com.
Thank you very much.
About you, I have to say, you born in UK with Italian ancestry and living in Bordeaux for almost 50 years. The colorful and bubbly Count John Umberto Salvi, Master Wine, is a Bordeaux wine specialist who has spent most of 71 years around wine. Has just wine competition in more than 36 countries, is a consulting winemaker to wineries in Russia, China and India, writes for publication like Decanter, Practical Winery, and Vineyard USA. Has done offbeat projects like evaluating Stalin's old cellar in Georgia and evaluating very old ports from Waterloo vintage. Mr. Salvi, we at allwinestories.com are dedicated wine lovers. Well, please let me start by asking you to describe us your personal history as well your philosophy in wine culture.
Well, my history is actually very simple. My father was in the wine trade, and I never really had very much choice as to what I was going to do. But just as I was finished my national service and was about to start work, he sold the company. So I was taken on by a Bordeaux wine shipper who was a great friend of his. And that is why I spent most of my wine life in Bordeaux as a Bordeaux wine shipper. And then since I retired, which I did at the age of 60, it's the best for your pension in France. I retired at the age of 60. I've specialized as a consultant for old and rare wines, which is very exciting. I write for a number of wine magazines. And as I've told you, we've already said, I taste in international wine competitions. And I'm told by the OIV that I might be the world countries. My philosophy is extremely simple. It's vinum exhilarat animum, which means in English either wine enlivens the mind of man or that it cheers the spirit.
And I suppose your history and philosophy are great. Could you please tell us which are your milestones of your career?
Well, you've already mentioned most of them. Certainly becoming a master of wine in 1970, and also enology with the very famous Professor Peno back in the 50s. Being called to evaluate Stalin's cellar in Georgia, but also Thomas Jefferson's cellar in Monticello in Virginia. Those were very exciting moments. And then I think some of the great bottles, drinking the Waterloo port, which you mentioned, which of course was 1815, so it's very old. Drinking the 1806 Chateau Lafite with Stephen Spurrier, and the magnums, the famous magnums of 1870 Chateau Lafite with Michael Broadbent, who sadly, one of my closest friends, died a couple of years ago. And being a member of the International Wine Academy and the Bordeaux Wine Academy.
Wow.
Yes, a lot.
A lot. You have a long story and a long life. Lately, you participate in the international wine competition Le Mondial de Vin Blanc in Strasbourg, and we we are here as media partners, and we like to describe as the procedure and which are the judging criteria.
Yeah, well, it really is an enormously enjoyable competition. Thanks, of course, I think, to Christine Collins and her husband Dave. It's a very simple process, international judging. The wines are served by the School of Sommeliers, who do a very professional job. We take the wine, we look at the color, then we smell them, we look at the nose, as we call it, then we taste, and when we've done all those three things, we evaluate. And we evaluate by giving marks, by giving points out of 100. To get a silver medal, you need 85 points. To get a gold medal, you need 89. And we then put our marks on a computer these days, which is wonderfully simple. And they are all collated in the back room, and the results come out. In fact, the results will be published today, I'm
Today,
told.
yes, of course, today.
Yeah. What is required and what is very important is continuous concentration. It's very important that the last wine is judged as well as the first wine. And that is not easy when you're tasting for 4 or 5 hours. So a great deal of concentration is required.
We agree with you because we are media partners of the Mondial de Vin Blanc, and when we went there, the atmosphere was very pleasant and brings all the wine enthusiasts together. And Christine Collins and her team organized, I believe, a high quality competition. And now, what should be the role of Master of Wine in the wine industry?
Well, that's a very simple one because we have a defined and written code of ethics. And our code of ethics and our role is to promote excellence, interaction, and learning across all sectors of the global wine community. I was number 20. We are now 419 from 30 countries, and that remains our ethics. And anybody who does not conform to these ethics can actually be expelled from the Institute. So we take them very seriously.
And
sorry, that was very serious.
And what's your opinion about Greek wines compared to the other producing countries?
Well, I've tasted, fortunately, thanks to very good friends, Greek friends, 2 of whom are masters of wine. I've tasted my fair share of Greek wines, and Greek history of wine is extremely interesting, but very, very complicated. But the renovation of Greek wine, the resurgence of Greek wines really started 20 or 30 years ago. And they have developed extremely quickly. And there are now some great Greek wines that match up in all ways to world standards. And I'm glad to say that next year I shall be in Athens to judge the Balkan International Wine Competition.
Yes,
which includes a great deal of Greek wine, and the president is a Greek master of wine.
Mr. Konstantinos Lazarakis. The Count of Wine is your your new book. Please tell us about it.
Well, basically, it's my life together with the life of the wine trade over the last 60 years and the incredible way in which it's developed and changed. There are, I hope, amusing moments and anecdotes. There are also some serious dissertations. I like personally to describe it as lively and irreverent. It's certainly irreverent, and it's greatly devoted to wine and to food as both a gourmet and a gourmand. Amazon describes it, I think, very appropriately as a hedonistic autobiography. And it is available on both Amazon and Lulu. So I hope people will enjoy it.
Mr. Salvi, thank you so much for this very interesting interview, both emotional and a little bit technical. And I will be very happy when the conditions permit. I will visit you in Bordeaux, which I have visited in the past, to do a feature of Allwinestories.
It would be my pleasure to receive you. So if you come to Bordeaux, please let me know. And I do hope I'll see you in Athens next year.
And you always welcome in Greece. And hope to meet you again in another competition abroad. Thank you very much. I'm very happy to have you here, and have a nice day.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.